correct.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily something that I would, from a health and safety coordinator perspective, local to the site, would take the action upon. I'm assisting and I'm going to help write the report, whatever comes of it. But Paul and Rich will review and assess, and as Richard just said there, it's not necessarily a blame thing or a witch hunt. It's just
no, that sounds, and I get it. I mean, I spoke to a couple of the other ATs, and it was kind of, a surrender isn't like an everyday occurrence. So, it's like one of the other guys, he was saying, I've probably done it 2, maybe 3 maximum in the 5 years that we've been here.
Yeah.
I've probably done it twice, well, obviously I've done it 3 days running on that one, after I took, but I mean, it's not like an everyday thing, so you could kind of understand, the familiarity around it, maybe a bit hazy, but...
I've got 4 days down here, Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th.
What date?
22nd, 23rd, 24th, and then I say you took over on the 26th.
Yeah.
My last day.
Yeah.
So there's a few different technicians. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different technicians with just across those days.
Interestingly, whether this goes towards it or not, Paul actually picked this one up. We came in and randomly picked boxes, as I say. Ben will vouch for that. He came in, showed us where the things was. I picked 3 boxes, you picked 3 boxes. Anyway, by chance, this was the one we picked of this incident, by pure accidents. But we also I picked up in another box, Golf 5, I think it was. And it was actually, again, it was Justin's as well. Now, he'd done a job, the same one, I think it was a 201. Was it 201? I think it was a 102, I can't remember. But he'd done the job 4 days on the run, but he'd done the paperwork perfectly, and he'd cleared and cancelled it, and then opened another one. And I just find it bizarre that he's done this with this one, but previously he'd done it correctly. And I can't get my head round why it is. But again, that's a question.
Was it obviously previous to that one as well, wasn't it?
Yes, I think it was. Yeah, I think it would have been. Yeah.
So that's hard to explain, but I mean. I know. I guess everybody else does know that obviously you've got an avenue for stopping the job. I mean, you can't stop a job for a split pin on a crane and not stop it for not having enough padlocks or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's... But then, I then had obviously a duty of acting as the AT and doing it properly, but also to safeguard myself and not take that.
Everyone else.
Not take that job on in the state that I assumed it was in by looking at it.
The thing is, Ofsted announce it enough times that no job's so important it can't be done safely. So nobody's going to send anything. You say, look, I've got no padlocks, can't isolate this. I need them sending out and stopping the job.
Yeah, it's not about stopping the job to stop the job. It's about stopping the job to find the safe way, the correct way forward, and then continuing to get the job done.
But then if somebody got killed, imagine the press and everything that would have hit them. So,
well, what you've just said there leads on to the next one. What do you? So it's just a question to you. What do you understand as a safe isolation procedure? How would you go about it? So you find it on your AWP, you give them isolation number 2 or whatever. So what would your procedure be? Or what's the site procedure if there is one for isolating and testing?
I mean, you go in, it's prove, test, prove. It's having your in-date gear. It's got on that one in particular, the breaker's already open and discharged anyway. So you're only needing to pull a padlock and a caution notice on that, which was in place on this particular one.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find that one.
And in what order do you?
So you go to it, open the breaker. Is it just exactly as it's written down, really?
Put the padlock on.
Yeah, apply the lock and the caution notice.
And then
test your equipment to make sure that it's working on your proving unit. Then test that it's dead across the terminals that it tells you to use, and then go back to your proving unit to prove that your test is still working and that you've got a proper reading from it. the lock on the course notes that you know it's dead, you know that your test equipment's working, you know.
That's it, yeah. It can be a bit awkward putting the lock on and then trying to test around it and whatnot, but that's the procedure that we've been given, isn't it? So what my concern is if you get into it and there's a step-by-step thing, but you're missing, say, step 2, or you're going to miss step 3, 4 and 5, which is then the testing part.
Yeah, if you come to it, I mean, if you come to it and it's missing, then if you've used the paperwork often enough, you know it's missing, and you'd stop the job and contact the IO and go, this paperwork's not right.
Yeah.
And then you'll go, alright, well, listen, you can see from all the rest of them, it's exactly the same terminals. I'm giving you the authorisation to crack on these grounds, but it'll be by email, so you've got it paper trailed. And then, or it'll be, alright, stop the job until we get a chance to, you know, redo the paperwork so they can come out and check the AWPs.
Yeah.
Just what we do every day.
No, that's it. Yeah, that's what we expect, isn't it? When we do the panels, there's a very specific sort of order to it, isn't it? You know, so yeah. And if there is something wrong, again, another question. I say we press this all the time. If there is faults with the AWP, what do you do? Stop the job.
I think it's happened numerous occasions, hasn't it, with this particular platform, as we learned with it, AWP's being amended, you know, as the guys are fine. So I think the team here, probably 1-3, etc., and other sites may be well versed on you know, amendments to AWPs were required.
Yeah. That's it, yeah. Treat it as like, a brand new document every time, because they can change, Okay. Right. I've got no more questions. So,
no, that's fine.
No.
Thanks very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So you might have felt you were being questioned about your ability, and that really wasn't what we were doing at all.
No, you just want to check
getting a good
we're
understanding.
Trained properly, you know, to do it the way it should be done. It just doesn't feel very comfortable, you know, chatting about somebody who works. No, it's not nice to do it to anybody who's got somebody who works for Orsted as well. It's not very comfortable. You don't know what's going to come of it. But
all I would reiterate is that if you were to get the rule book out, you've followed every rule as it should have been followed.
I think
that's all we can ask you to do.
Just to add to that, Tony, it's irrelevant of who they work for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who they work for, whether it's Vestas, Orsted,
Yeah.
you know, self-employed but been authorised under the rules. It doesn't matter. They're still working under a set of rules. And
we'd have this exact same conversation if it was.
And I fully expect that
Tech.
to be the process.
See, if you had not, and again,
observations need to come in to do that. Though.
Exactly. This is like long, you know, worst case scenarios. If you hadn't have raised this, and then somebody had got hurt, you are almost complicit because you'd seen it.
Well, that's why
that's why
to pay as well. So it's like that's why it is what it is. You know, it's you're trusting me to work like that offshore. You're trusting everybody to work like that offshore. So it should just be the way it is, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Integrity.
That's the one. Yeah. Thank you.
That's a very poignant word. Cool.
Alrighty. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Tony. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, cheers, buddy.
Cheers, thanks, Tony.
Oh,
See you, bud.
Appreciate the time, work.
Cheers.
I just checked the names there, just in case Matty was one of the other technicians, but he's not.
He's not now.
Yeah, so
Okay. I think we can probably get it off the TPTV anyway. Who was?
I've got the names there. I'll just run through to see who it was.
yeah,
Matty
I
wasn't
think a
one.
lot of them, if not all of them, were
New starts.
new starts.
Yeah, I think they are.
And
Don't
that-
recognise the names.
And that's
Yeah.
the shame.
I
Say
know.
if they're seeing that, they're going to see
Learning
it.
bad habits.
It's exactly, and it's a killer. Well, that's a killer. It's awful to sort of because they're looking at it as like open eyes, going, "Oh, is that the way we do it?" Yeah. And you think,
You've got to look at the culture side of it. And
Yeah.
that's one of them, because if they're new starts coming in, they've gone through all the training, they've gone through all that, and if they've seen that,
Yeah.
they're expected to challenge that behaviour from the start. You know?
Yeah.
Rather than learning it and go, oh, well, that's it.
yeah,
I expect them, Orsted, Vestas, whoever, to challenge that. That's what's been.
I can't stress enough how, I don't want to say pleased because it's the wrong word, but relieved at Tony's approach to this.
under the circumstances,
Yeah, I
it's
think he does
impressive.
take
Yeah.
a lot of bottle, to be fair, for what he's done, and I think he should receive some praise for that, for coming forward and for making the observation. And just to reiterate what we said, Neil, as long as the observations come in